and welcome to another episode of Going All In, Get the Edge You Need to Succeed. I'm Dr. Erin McKinley, and today we have an update from Mallory Mount from the Marshall University Dietetic Internship, which has a new combined Masters of Science, and their program is both distance and in person, based in Huntington, West Virginia. Check it out. All right, welcome back to the podcast, Mallory, and welcome, Mary, to your first podcast with us. To get this episode started, I would love for each of you to give us an introduction to you and your journey to Marshall.
Well, my name is Dr. Mallory Mount, and I am our internship director here at Marshall, and I've been in the department now. This is my 7th year, which has flown by. I am a graduate of Marshall with my bachelor's, my master's, my internship, and my doctorate. So I have been a lifelong Marshall girl, and I'm excited to be here again today. Thanks for having us, Dr. McKinley.
Hello, my name is Mary Gillispie. I'm a West Virginia native. I grew up in a small town called Wirt County, or Elizabeth, and I decided to come to Marshall because my older brother went here. And he had a really good experience. So I started out studying exercise science, and I ended up having a dietetics course through that program. And I fell in love with the profession and ultimately decided that I wanted to be a dietitian and pursue both of those degrees together, which brings me to where I am now. I am a couple months into the on-site dietetic internship at Marshall University. And it's been a lot of fun. So I'm excited to share with you guys today.
All right, so I will let you jump into giving us an update on the program.
Awesome. Well, thank you. So last episode, I really focused on our distance internship and our second round match program, or second round match application process, which is just a whirlwind time for dietetic interns to be. And so today we're going to focus on both the on-site and distance internship, and then some new things that are coming up for next year, which we're really excited about. So I just wanted to overview our faculty. We have 2 programs, on-site and distance, and we have frequent interaction with students in both of those programs. You know, we have really been, with COVID has not been good for anyone, but one thing that has really come out of this is our ways we can use technology. So we all are very accessible to students. We all have different focus areas. So Dr. Kelly Williams focuses on outpatient eating disorder counseling and food service management. Dr. Mary Catherine Gould is clinical nutrition, as am I, clinical nutrition, and also diabetes care and education. Professor Bender focuses on sports nutrition, and Dr. Gannon on childhood nutrition, particularly childhood obesity. And so we really have a great, diverse faculty. And if one of us doesn't know the answer, more than likely someone else will, but if not, we can always jump in to all of our colleagues all across the country, which we have been able to meet and work with. So Marshall is located in Huntington, West Virginia. You can see the star here. We're located in the tri-state area of Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and we are a mid-sized school, about 13,000 students. And I referenced in the last episode the We Are Marshall movie. If you've not seen that, that's about our university. It was a tragedy in 1970. A plane crash killed our football team and their coaching staff. And that movie is about the tragedy and the triumph. So check it out. I also wanted to say welcome to Huntington's Kitchen. Huntington's Kitchen was developed in 2009 by Jamie Oliver, who is a chef, restaurateur. You probably know him from the Food Network some and cookbooks that he has out. He came to Huntington and did a TV show for 5 months, which was really interesting. And he was trying to help educate the public and local schools on healthy nutrition, because we were deemed the fattest city in America at that time. So he actually started Jamie's Kitchen, which he left to Huntington. And so we've had this great community teaching kitchen since 2009. We are now part of the Harvard Teaching Kitchen Collaborative, which is a really prestigious group we're really excited about. And in 2016, Marshall Dietetics and Huntington's Kitchen partnered together. We use this as our foods lab. We prepare foods for our nutrition education program, but we're still a community teaching kitchen where we do a lot of rotations out of as well. Our entire department in 2016 moved off campus. So we're all down about a mile from campus. Our classrooms and office space are above Huntington's kitchen. So just to give you sort of an idea, if you're wanting to do an on-site internship, you would be here in this space, but a distance internship, you would come for orientation, and then you would be completing your rotations where you live. So a good overview of our program is right here. We accept 11 interns in the on-site, 35 in the distance. Of course, you'll complete your internship in Huntington if you are on the on-site, nationwide in the distance. Now, we do have a focus on nutrition education with our SNAP-Ed grant, which we call this the Marshall University Nutrition Education Program, where we provide low-income youth with nutrition education in 4 counties that are close to our university. We actually have 4 registered dietitian nutritionists that work in this program, providing this education, and then our director is a dietitian as well. And so what our educators and our on-site interns do is provide direct education through a MyPlate curriculum in grades kindergarten through 2nd. And this is a short lesson, a little bit of physical activity. They read some nutrition-related accelerated reader books, and then also they do a taste test every week. And so it's about a 7-week curriculum that the kids just really love. So if you are interested in school nutrition education, this is a really fantastic way to get your feet wet in that area. We also work on policy, system, and environmental changes in school gardens. So pretty much all of our schools have school gardens. We work with the Smarter Lunchroom program. And we also do have a food pantry at Marshall for students and community members. So you work with that as well. In addition, I was mentioning before we started recording that we do have a new substance abuse recovery program that we are focusing on with this nutrition education program as well. And so we have adults coming through the program that are nearing their end of their recovery and their recovery process. And then they get all kinds of great tools. So they get crock pots and measuring spoons and all of these things that they can go out and continue their recovery and build healthy nutrition into that. So it's really exciting. For distance interns, we want that focus to be on nutrition education. We prefer school nutrition education, but if you can get in the after school programs or Boys and Girls Clubs, then that's also acceptable as well. And we can work with you on that too. So brand new for 2022, which is really exciting, we have a combined master's in dietetic internship program. We've provided a master's program for a long time here at Marshall. It's never been required and we've never put it all together. And so now we are. And so you will complete your internship and your master's in 1 year, completing 36 hours of that graduate credit, 1,000 hours of the supervised practice experience. And then on-site students will take courses online and on-site. And then of course, distance students will complete those all online. So this is just an overview of how many hours in different areas you'll complete. For the on-site internship, I set up all rotations, but as a distance intern, you would set up all your rotations and find your preceptors. So just an information on where to go and where those hours look like. And of course, cost is definitely on the top of your mind. Here is the estimated fees currently for this school year. They will raise a little bit next year for the on-site internship. So this will be the entire cost, 2 semesters and a summer. And then for the distance internship, that tuition is the same for residents and non-residents. And so we have really competitive pricing, and we will talk a little bit later about a GA opportunity that you have as an on-site intern to help get about half of your tuition costs paid. A lot of times people ask about our curriculum and what courses there are. We have a variety of courses with medical nutrition therapy, research, diabetes management. You will take a dietetic internship practicum course, 1, 2, and 3 for each of the semesters that you're in the program, and that really focuses on your rotations and completing those supervised practice hours and self-evaluations and preceptor evaluations and all that kind of stuff. Also a portfolio in that course as well. So you take 12 hours in the fall, 15 hours in the spring. So we have 2-part medical nutrition therapy course. We also add administrative dietetics in here, a sports nutrition course, and then an approved elective. And this is the only course that you have to choose. And many times students will take a counseling course or a healthcare administration course, management, business. We had an entrepreneurial course for people that are interested in doing private practice. So you can really focus this in any area that you want. Approved, we have to have it approved by our graduate advisor, but it really does give you a way to branch out and get a little bit deeper knowledge in certain areas that you are interested in. And then in the summer, we have 2 new courses that we're going to be teaching in our program: cardiac nutrition, cardiac disease, and then food allergies and intolerances. And so you'll take 9 hours during the summer coursework. And then we do have a RDN review course as part of the internship at no additional cost to our students. We know that this is the goal, of course, is to become a dietitian, and we want to prepare you as best we can for that. So the completion of the program, of course, you'll complete your 1,000 minimum hours of supervised practice. You'll meet all of the competencies that you must meet for Ascend. And then for your courses, you'll have need to have a minimum of a GPA of 3.0 or better. And then in the final practicum course, you will have to pass a practice RDN exam with an 80% to finish. A few other things like program evaluation and things that we do at the end of the program, but really the culminating experience is this comprehensive exam, either oral or written, and then it's one that's a pass, no pass, so you have to pass that in order to graduate. And so successfully completing the program will provide you with a verification statement, so that way you can take the CDR exam, which is everyone's goal. So what do we look for in an intern? Well, we really want them to be well-rounded and someone who works well in a team. And people ask me all the time, if I don't have a GPA of a 3.0, can I still apply? Absolutely. We encourage everyone to apply. And I know that if you are applying for internships or looking into that, you've heard of most of these areas before, but I want to highlight that we, for Marshall, are looking for 2 letters of recommendation from faculty members, and your third can be from anyone else that would be appropriate to provide you with a recommendation for an internship. We also are looking for that relevant work or volunteer experience. We have removed our GRE from our application, so no longer requiring it. We are going to have students do an online personal interview in place of this, really helping students to find where they want to fit and where they want to go as an intern. And we think that this will really be beneficial to do that. And then, of course, your declaration of intent or your verification statement that you are finishing or are going to finish. And then because you'll be completing a master's degree, you'll, of course, have to apply to our graduate school. But you can do that after match, and all of that will give you more instruction. And then, of course, the important information, we do our applications through DieCast. So you'll need to know these numbers. For the on-site internship is 489 and distance is 783. And as I mentioned, we do our application through DieCast and we do computer matching through D&D Digital. I know that's different for some internships, so I wanted to be sure that you know the process to go through for application. So let's focus more on our graduate assistantship and our on-site interns. So on-site interns do work as a GA or an RA, research assistant, for our department 10 hours a week. And so through COVID, we were not sure if we would get these assistantships or not, but we have. And I talked to our department director or our department chair, and she said that we are going to have them again next year. She's like, I'm like 98% sure. You can say more than may be available. So we are confident in saying that we will have them again. These are available for in-state and out-of-state students. They're only available during the fall and spring semesters. You get half your tuition paid, plus a small stipend that helps with gas, food. It's not huge, but it does help some. And then you do have to pay all of the student fees. So when you look at numbers, it's not exactly half because you do have to pay the fees, but it does definitely help with tuition. And again, this is only for on-site students, not for distance students. So just an example of what some of the rotations look like. So what you'll do is Monday will be reserved for coursework. One day of the week from Tuesday through Friday, you'll have your RA or your GA day where you'll work within our department, typically with our nutrition education program, foods labs. It really kind of just depends on what's going on that week. And then the other 3 days, you will be in rotations. The cool thing is we can give you rotation hours for your RA and GA time as well. So you'll end up getting about 32 hours a week. We have acute care facilities, long-term care, outpatient, some of those other programs I already mentioned. Huntington's Kitchen, we have a few new rotations that I'll wait and talk about here in a little bit. One of the cool rotations that we have is actually at a farm, organic farm, that's about 5 hours away from Marshall. And it's really a great experience. They put you up in one of their inns there, and you go to the farm and you get to see how they take food and make it into items for their bakery. They're building a restaurant, they're building a teaching kitchen. So it really is that farm to table experience, getting really to see how this business aspect works with food. So we're really excited about that. And we don't have the exact same rotations every year. If we have a really great opportunity that comes up, we'll make room in the schedule for that, because we want you to get all that you can while you are in your internship. And here's just a few pictures of our classrooms, our foods lab, and Huntington's Kitchen, and then our intern meeting room, which is where really a lot of the behind the scenes stuff takes place with our grant. It's really all hands on deck with faculty, interns, our educators to run this grant successfully. So Mary can talk a little bit more about that in the future too, here in a few minutes. So the distance internship is really great. You probably have been researching, should I do on-site? Should I do distance? What should I do? And so distance interns get to complete the internship anywhere in the country. They get to establish relationships with potential employers. And this can be where you currently live. We've had students that have traveled around to different states and done really cool things. They stayed with family members. They stayed in Airbnbs for a little bit. So you really get to make this your own, and you have more flexibility in supervised practice experiences. So these are the steps, and this is really a lot of words here, but I just want to tell you that you are in charge of finding your rotations and your preceptors for supervised practice hours. And we do have a commitment letter on our website and also a schedule on our website that you can use to help with this process. And so we ask that if you are interested and you've already started this process of making a schedule and getting these commitment letters, to submit those as supporting documentation with your application. Some people will tell us, I've not started this process. Do I have to submit it? No, you don't. But if you have it, go ahead and submit it so that way we can see kind of the direction that you are going. For our online interviews, after we receive your application, we will email you to schedule that and tell you more details. So don't stress about that at this point. And then we have all of our students for orientation. These were our distance interns, I think 2 years ago, pre-COVID, whenever that was. It seems like it's all running together now in my brain. But we do have our on-site and our distance interns here. And so we were really fortunate this year to get everybody back on campus. We had to do 1 year of virtual, but now we are becoming a little bit more normal in this process. So it typically happens August 14th, 15th, around in there. You stay 4 days on site with us, and then you travel back home to start your process of your rotations and your coursework from wherever you're going to be. So I will leave this here for just a second to show you our website, marshall.edu/dietetics. I am the internship director, but our internship coordinator for the distance program is Tim Bender. So if you have specific questions on the distance program, I'm getting better about knowing all the answers, but Tim definitely knows everything about that program. I really oversee the on-site program more. So if you do have questions, you can always call us or reach out to us via email as well. And I'll send it over to Mary just to talk a little bit about her current experience as an intern and share some of that information with us now.
Hi, so I'm just gonna kind of share about what led me to decide Marshall's on-site internship. Thinking about internships and like all the different options that you have, I found myself, and everybody's situation will be different. I found myself newly engaged the fall before the internship application process, and I wanted to be married as soon as possible. And my fiance, he lived in a city that was far away from here. So I had three options. I could either move, I could do the distance internship, or I could do the on-site Marshall internship, and my husband would have to find a new job. And I looked around at different internships, and there was one really right where he was stationed at, and I would have been able to go there and live with him, but it was far too expensive for us, and it was 2 semesters long with a price that was significantly higher than Marshall's price. So it would have been a long, extended, higher cost. So we nixed that one and moved on to the distance internship. And that one was really exciting to me. I thought that presented a great opportunity. It is very affordable. It's very quick. You get done pretty quickly, and you get to personalize your experience to your interests. And I thought that was I was very drawn to that. I have interests in sports nutrition and community nutrition and eating disorders. So I was like, if I could set it up where I could do all of these and meet my requirements, that would be amazing. To combat that's a lot of work that I didn't really have time to prepare for. And also, you don't get all of the master's courses that you would need to get your master's with that one. So that's kind of what turned me off to that one. And I chose the on-site internship because, well, for starters, I had my undergrad at Marshall, and I really trusted the Marshall staff. I had a great experience with all my professors. It really felt very relational. All the courses were, the teachers got to know us on a personal level, and that helped us professionally very much. And I felt prepared. Applying for internships, I felt prepared going into one. So I trusted their ability to give me a quality education, and I could rely on that. So that was really important to me. Another one is that it's so affordable. It's so affordable. It's amazing that you can get your entire master's and your internship experience in 40 weeks for such a low cost with the GA position. It's truly unheard of. And so that was a great reason to do it. And my soon-to-be husband was on board for that one too. And also, Huntington is a wonderful area. It's home to us. We love Huntington. And I think that anybody who experiences Huntington would say the same. It's got a charm about it. So that's why I chose Marshall's campus and Marshall's program. And it's been really fun so far. And if you guys have any questions about that, feel free to ask.
All right. Well, if you're ready, we can jump into the new 5 questions that I ask programs that do a second episode with us. And the first is, what is the one major program improvement that's been made that was born out of the COVID-19 pandemic?
I'll give one for the on-site and for the distance because they're a little different. In terms of new rotation development, we started a social media and nutrition rotation, which during COVID, we thought, how do we educate people when they're at home and we can't get anybody out? And so we really tried that. I have revamped that. So this year we're keeping that rotation in because we got really great success with it. We do media training with our students, and then we tell them, really how to focus their message in a short time. And so they're really going to get some experience on that coming up in January. We also have a culinary medicine rotation. We started during COVID, but really didn't come out of COVID. We wanted to do this previously. We use a culinary medicine curriculum, and we did some online videos during COVID, but this year we've been able to be in the kitchen with medical students. So dietitians or dietetic students working with medical students, really being able to share the pathophysiology of the disease, nutrition, and how it really works together. And we've got really great feedback on the first session that we've done. So we're really excited to continue that as well. Technology is really, the number one that has come out. And I think that everybody can say that we can reach people far and wide. And with our distance internship, we have previously done hybrid courses with our distance interns. We now do fully online courses, which sort of came out of everything that has happened. We also have some distance preceptors that accept students virtually as well. So that's been an opportunity. And then we also, during all of the madness that happened very quickly, students being pulled out of rotations, we found EHR Go, which is an electronic medical record that students can put case studies in and get some of that real simulation experience. So we have really integrated that into our curriculum as well. So I know that's more than one, but that really kind of sums up, technology is a big part, but also how can we think outside of the box with some of these new rotations that can be beneficial moving forward.
All right, so looking ahead at both sides of the program, so distance and on-site, what does your ideal class of interns look like as far as characteristics, personalities, the experiences they bring? Like, what are you really hoping to have as that, that class that you're like, yeah, we did good?
So I say a well-rounded student. So who has experience in working in a team, experience working with nutrition, so either volunteer or work, outstanding recommendations from the DPD and faculty. But when you really look at that class, working as a cohesive team, willing to step outside of their comfort zone and really give their all to all internship experiences and rotations, putting constructive feedback into action. So giving that feedback, listening, and really being able to move forward with it. Specifically for our on-site program, I think definitely the interest in community nutrition, because we have such a big integration of our nutrition ed program into our curriculum. But we have our teaching kitchen, we have the Farms Work Wonders rotation where they go to the organic farm. We have our Marshall pantry. We're working with the sustainability department. So even though we do have, we're meeting education in all areas, really having that desire for community is really a good benefit to have.
So what are you currently doing to improve the diversity of the interns that come into the program?
Well, first of all, we're getting the word out here. And we've worked with all access internships. We've done open houses, the in-depth supervised fair, because we're based in West Virginia. We are the only state that is fully in the Appalachian geography. Most people, when they think of moving or going somewhere, don't think about West Virginia. And that's just, something that I was born here, Mary was born here. We have a lot of people that stay in the state, and we are interested in getting more people outside of the state to come in. With our distance internship, we've really been able to do that. But with our on-site, we get most people from surrounding states as well, which is great, but we would like to have a little bit of diversity from all across the country. And so a few of the admission changes that I mentioned, we removed the GRE and we did the online personal interview. We put less emphasis on GPA and more emphasis on those areas of your personal statement, your recommendations, you as a whole, instead of just you as a number. And we do strongly consider second round applicants, as we know that everybody has potential, even if you didn't get matched in the first round. So we really focus on that. We don't always participate in the second round match, but we definitely encourage those when we do have openings in either program to apply. We also included the exam prep as part of the internship because we know that a lot of people struggle with exams and standardized testing. And so we're really thinking about how to get more diversity in both with our application process, but then also with our recruiting process as well.
All right, so kind of continuing on that, how are you currently or planning to implement and integrate diversity, equity, and inclusion information into the experiences for the interns?
Absolutely. So we have enhanced our cross-cultural education with discussions and presentations, case studies. We also focus on weight stigma and weight bias and awareness and discussions of that as well. Person-first language and really using that when we're talking with our patients and our clients. And then, of course, we have diversity and inclusion training for all preceptors. And so, in West Virginia, even though we are, in the Appalachian geography, we have a very, very diverse culture and population set here. So really getting those students in the classroom talking about this, but when they get out in their rotation, being able to really apply the strategies that we have been talking about.
All right, so to wrap up these 5, other than the skills and practices that are already integrated into the program through the CRDNs and then the new CRDNs next year, what other skills-based training are you including in the program that maybe you haven't mentioned yet?
So we do some experiential learning in our courses, like in the diabetes management course that I teach. Students live with diabetes for a week. So they have numbers that they cut up and put into a little baggie. They check their blood sugar by drawing out those numbers. They calculate their carbs. They calculate their insulin to carb ratio and their correction factor if they have a high blood sugar. And all in all, I mean, they're not taking the insulin, but they're doing everything to the point where they would be. It's the most simulated experience we can do without having violin syringe with saline. So we do that for a few different courses in terms of simulation. We do have a nursing simulation lab that we're going to be using a little bit more next semester and next year. Those EHR Go case studies, we use those for simulation. We also have a really great interprofessional education team at Marshall. And so every year we have this big event where pretty much all of our healthcare professional majors get together. They work on a case and they talk with a standardized patient. So that really is simulation and put it all together working in that interprofessional team. And then, of course, I've already talked about our community teaching kitchen. We really provide a unique skill set of community contact through food and nutrition education. Essentially, what we're trying to do is change lives through food. And we focus on that in the kitchen, but really teaching students how to do that when they're talking with patients in hospital or outpatient settings. And really trying to do a full inclusive, this is how all of these pieces work together. Because many times, students, when I was in my internship, I remember separate pieces and really seeing that holistic view was a little more difficult. And so we're trying to really show them how it all works together.
All right, perfect. Well, that was all the questions that I had. So I would love for both of you to give us a quick take-home message to potential applicants.
I would say, put yourself out there. Don't be afraid. I mean, I know that is very hard to do, but I think it's always really hard to talk about yourself, but talk about yourself. What have you done? And you have worked so hard to get to the point that you are at. You are just moving into a different phase of life and in your career. And so be sure to put yourself out there. And the worst thing, people tell me this all the time, the worst thing they can say to you is no. And I have to always keep that in the back of my brain, because what are they going to say? No. Okay, well, that's not the answer I wanted, but I can go further and continue what I'm doing. So just think of that.
I would say, and this would be more so for when you start your internship, that adaptability is so important, because it's just it's the bread and butter of being a professional, is just being able to adapt. And you learn that so quickly in the internship because it is fast paced. There is a turnover in the rotations. Everyone is so different and there's different expectations. And you have to be able to adapt to those, and you have to be able to adapt to outside forces like COVID that might change things, and you have to be able to make the most of it in the process, and adapting to not having much sleep, because you're probably not going to get much because it's a lot to take in. But just being able to, whatever challenges that come your way, to be able to take those and process them and apply them to the trajectory of your career in the future as a dietitian. And it's a lot of fun. So try to make the most of every moment, because it is brief. I'm already like a fourth of the way through it, and I feel like we started yesterday.
Thank you again for being with me today and giving us an update on your program. For those at home who would like some more information on the program at Marshall and to get a more of an inside scoop on what it's like to be an intern, check out their first episode with us, episode 51, or go to their website link that I've posted in the description below this video. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode with another awesome dietetic internship. And we'll see you next time. Bye.